This is your first multi-voice time writing at 140 words per minute. Your proper names are Ms. Couch, Casey, Dale, Patton, Dr. Green, Arcadia Medical Clinic, Dr. Laster, and Laster. I am Ms. Baker.
The witness,
Mr. Archer.
Ms. Baker.
the witness,
Mr. Archer.
It is going to begin with colloquy by Mr. Archer. Ready?
I need to take a break.
Okay.
I'm going to object to the question, and I assume you'll also ask the same question with regard to the second pregnancy.
Yes.
So I'll get that objection out of the way as it's irrelevant. It's not intended to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence, and it invades Ms. Couch's privacy.
Are you going to instruct her not to answer or allow her to answer?
As of now, I'm going to instruct her not to answer unless you can show me some offer of proof.
The reason I'm asking, part of her claim of damages is that she is not able to have children and or has a reduced chance of having children. And on 2 prior occasions, she chose to terminate pregnancies, which could lead to believe that she doesn't want children. And that's basically where I'm coming from.
Okay, I understand what you're asking, and I think that for whatever the reason or reasons that she chose to terminate those prior pregnancies, then her feelings about parenthood could significantly have changed, as many of our feelings change as we get older. Without waiving the objection, I will allow the witness to answer as to her reason for terminating the pregnancy.
Okay. I asked you the reason for terminating the 1984 pregnancy.
correct. At that time, I felt like I was not ready to have a child. I had a problem with alcohol.
What was your age at that point, if you can recall, in 1984?
18, I believe.
And can you tell me the reason for terminating the 1990 pregnancy?
Basically, at that point, I didn't feel I was ready. I was going through a lot of difficulties.
Were you married to your husband in 1990?
That's correct.
How about in 1984?
No,
And was that during the time that you were going through a divorce?
that's correct.
In 1990? Are you currently married?
No, I'm engaged.
And do you have a specific date?
Sometime in August.
That's when I got married. It's a good month. And can you tell me the name of your fiancé?
Casey, Casey, Dale, Dale.
Dale? Dale?
Correct. And Patton, Patton.
Are you currently being treated for any drug abuse or alcohol abuse?
No,
At any time during your treatment for cancer, did you use marijuana?
when I was first going through the chemotherapy, I had told Dr. Green about it, that I had tried it because the heartburn was so bad that the medications he gave me did not phase the nausea and the severe heartburn.
And did that help it?
Yes, it did.
And was Arcadia Medical Clinic the place that you went to for all your medical treatment?
That's correct.
And was that because it was close to home?
Just where my parents went.
And can you recall for how long that Dr. Laster was your treating physician at Arcadia? Until approximately what age?
I would have to guess.
Don't guess.
Okay, if you can't give me an estimate, that's fine. Just say you can't recall.
Approximately 18.
And during any of the time that Dr. Laster was your physician there, or excuse me, let me ask you first a question. Do you know what kind of doctor that Laster was? Was he a general practitioner, if you know, any kind of specialty?
I believe he's just a general doctor.
And during those approximately 2 years that you saw Dr. Laster, did you ever have a pap smear or cervical exam with Dr. Laster?
I don't believe so.
Do you know if you ever had a breast exam by him?
No, I didn't.
And for the 2 years that you were seen by Dr. Laster, do you recall any of the specific ailments that you saw him for? I'm assuming that was a man. Is that correct?
That's correct. Generally, I would say like a cold flu.
And is it safe to assume that you were not seeing any other doctors? This is your second multi-voice time writing at 140 words per minute. Your proper names are Dr. Laster, Dr. Valentine, Arcadia Medical Clinic, breast evaluation form, and family history. I am Ms. Baker.
The witness?
Mr. Archer.
Ms. Baker.
The witness.
Mr. Archer.
It is going to begin with a question by me, Ms. Baker. Ready? And can you recall the reason that you no longer saw Dr. Laster after approximately 18 years of age?
He left.
And do you know if he moved somewhere that you couldn't see him at, or?
I'm going to object as to relevance. I don't know that it calls for speculation, conjecture as well. Without waiving the objection, if you know the reason that you didn't continue to see Dr. Laster, you can tell her.
All I know is he left, and I believe Dr. Valentine took over.
Okay. And while you were a patient with Dr. Laster, do you recall if he ever would have taken a history from you that would have included you telling him that you had this history of breast cancer in your family?
I don't recall.
You don't recall ever telling him that?
It's been so long.
Are you saying that you don't recall whether you did or you didn't?
Correct. With Dr. Laster?
Right.
Right. I was pretty young.
Okay, in your first deposition, we talked about, I think it was 2 great aunts and a maternal grandmother who had cancer history. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you know, for your grandmother, I think it was throat cancer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you know what year approximately that she was diagnosed with throat cancer?
I believe it was 1985.
And
that's an estimate.
Okay, and you had 2 great aunts. One had breast cancer, and that contributed to her death. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And do you know when she was diagnosed with breast cancer?
I have no idea.
Can you give me an estimate as far as 1980s, 1970s?
She wasn't a close aunt, so I had only seen her once.
And do you know approximately when she died?
I would have to guess.
Okay, that's fine. Now then, you had another great aunt that suffered from cervical cancer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And do you know the approximate year that she was diagnosed with cervical cancer?
I didn't know her.
Has she passed away now?
Correct.
And was that because of the cervical cancer, or do you know?
I believe it was the cervical cancer.
And do you know approximately how long ago she died?
I can't answer that.
Do you know when you first became aware of the cancer with these 2 great aunts, as far as you were concerned, when you first learned that there was cancer in the family?
I'm sorry. May I hear the question again, please? Are we assuming that the great aunt's cancer predated the grandmother's cancer for that question?
No, I realized that she said she found out in approximately 1985. That was her approximation for the grandmother. And now I'm just saying if she has any recollection of her own as far as the other great aunts are concerned, when she learned herself that they had cancer.
Basically, my mom and grandma would talk about it. That's how I learned. And when I went in, I can't say at what point, but I remember going into Arcadia Medical Clinic and filling out the form. And at that point, I knew that they all, had cancer.
And it was something that you put on the form, that there was breast cancer in the family.
Correct.
Okay?
Something like that.
Let's mark this as, I can't recall if we have any exhibits to the first. I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
No. So this will be Defendants 1. It's a 2-page document, and it says at the top, breast evaluation form. And I'm going to show this to you and have you look over the 2 pages and see if that's the document you're referring to. And I'll let you review that.
Okay,
I guess it could be Defendants A1 and A2.
that's correct.
And is that a document that you filled out yourself?
That's correct.
And on this document, on page 2, it says family history. It indicates the grandmother and suffered from cervical and throat and breast cancer. Shall I pause this real quick? This is your first multi-voice time writing at 120 words per minute. Your proper names are Lord, Dr. Stan Mann, Exhibit 8, Canutillo Independent School District, Canutillo Independent School Board, Mr. Garcia, and Chicago. I am Mr. Hosford.
The witness?
Miss Longoria.
Mr. Hosford.
The witness.
Miss Longoria.
It is going to begin with a question by me, Mr. Hosford. Ready? You understand those are separate claims and may be separate lawsuits?
Yes, sir.
As opposed to this lawsuit for what is alleged to be wrongful termination? What I'm asking you about is this lawsuit now.
Yes, sir.
Do you have in mind an amount that you wish to recover or want to recover in this case?
No, sir. You are speaking monetary?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Do you wish to recover $100,000?
No, sir.
You don't want that much?
No, sir.
You want $50,000?
No, sir.
You don't want that much?
No, sir.
You want less than $50,000 in this case?
No, sir.
You want more than $50,000?
Yes, sir.
You want more?
Again, the objection that I've got, real briefly, I believe he stated he doesn't know right at this particular second. And so the objection I have is it's been asked and answered. He is not really sure right at this particular second.
Well, I understand he doesn't have an exact figure in mind. I would like to get at least a frame or a ballpark figure. Do you want more than $100,000
Yes, sir.
in this case?
Yes, sir.
You want more than $500,000 in this case?
What the good Lord is willing.
Do you want more than $500,000 in this case?
I can't answer that at this time.
Have you spoken, and I'm not asking you what was said, but have you spoken or been interviewed by Dr. Stan Mann or anyone from his staff that you are aware of?
No, sir.
I'm going to hand you now what has been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 8 to this deposition and ask if you would take a moment to look at this document.
Could I see it too, please?
Sure. You have had a moment to look at what has been marked as Exhibit 8 to this deposition.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what that is?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe what it is?
It's a letter from the administration notifying me of my dismissal from the Canutillo Independent School District by actions taken by the Canutillo Independent School Board.
Why do you think Mr. Garcia was part of a plot to get you?
He was the director of support service personnel.
And because he was the director of the support service personnel,
Yes,
he was out to get you?
yes,
That's it?
yes.
No other reason?
No, not that I recall, that I can think of right now, I mean.
You have indicated that you did take a trip recently with your family back to the Chicago area.
Yes, sir.
What did you do?
What did I do?
You traveled by motor vehicle, a car. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So we have gas expense.
Okay.
And then go ahead.
Okay. The way that it was possible to go to Chicago was on the case involving my aggravated injury of March and November, March of 93 and November of 1992.
Just for the record, I just want to make it real clear that I understand we are reserving our objections till the time of trial, but I do have an objection as far as requesting information regarding collateral sources.
He has explained that they have been in very dire financial difficulties, and yet he,
with all due respect, for purposes of the record, that's been in response to your questioning.
yes, you're right.
So I'm still reserving my objection as far as collateral sources.
This is your second multi-voice time writing at 120 words per minute. Your proper names are Chicago, Workers' Compensation, and Canutillo. I am Mr. Hosford.
The witness,
Ms. Longoria.
Mr. Hosford.
the witness,
Ms. Longoria.
It is going to start with a question by me, Mr. Hosford. Ready? If you understand my question, you may answer my question, sir.
I can answer the question.
Yes.
I don't know if it was the attorney of record and the insurance company agreed.
Do you know the answer for sure,
Yes,
or you are not sure?
yes, I'm sure. The way I got the money was the insurance company acknowledged my injury and my aggravated injury of March of 1993.
Was it a settlement of some kind then?
No, it wasn't a settlement. It's not a settlement, no. But they sent me money that was due me, and that's how I went. That's the way my wife and I went to Chicago.
Do you still have open or continuing claims for injuries for workers' compensation claims with Canutillo?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that in the course of today and also previously when we met, that you have understood my questions?
To the way I interpreted them?
And have you asked me to rephrase them or say it again if you have been confused?
Yes, I have.
So is it fair to say that you have understood my questions, including any rephrasing you wanted done?
As the way I've interpreted it, yes.
And do you feel that you have answered those questions truthfully?
Yes, I have.
And you understand you have been under oath for both days of this deposition?
Yes, I have.
Is there any answer that you can recall now that you would desire to change or to add to?
Not that I could recall, because to be honest with you, I don't remember what I answered in the first deposition. I don't remember what the questions were, so I cannot give you a yes or a no because I don't remember.
Is there anything in today's series of questions and the answers you have given that you would like to change or add to or take away from, restate in any way?
Not that I could think of at this moment.
And would it be fair to say that in July, the first day of your deposition, even though you don't remember what the questions or responses were, that in July you did hear and understand them when you were giving your responses?
I believe so, yes.
I'll pass the witness.
I want to make it real clear for the record, I am, for the most part, reserving all of my questions to the time of trial. But I do want to clear one or two little things up very briefly. But I am reserving my questions for the time of trial. With regard to some of the damages that you are seeking in this case, are you requesting for the defendants in this case to reimburse you for any necessary expenses that you have incurred in the cost of litigating this case?
Yes.
Are you requesting that the defendants reimburse you for any gas you have had to expend to any hearing, deposition, court appearance, attorney's office, doctor's office, or otherwise in any way related to this case?
Yes.
Are you asking the defendants to reimburse you for your depression in this case?
Yes.
Have you suffered depression in this case?
Yes, I have.
Now, are you asking the defendants to reimburse you for any cost of medication that you have had to take as a result of any type of mental anguish or physical problems that you have incurred pursuant to this claim?
Yes. Now and in the future.
And with regard to this medication that you have had to take, does it cause That's it?
Mhm.